Next up on the yellow couch, we have a couple of gents representing Scripps Ranch.
Exactly, because everybody's going to have a different risk tolerance and where they are in life, whether you're trying to build your wealth or trying to protect it.
You know, I've given this advice before, make sure your house is turnkey and price it right. Because those same 47 homes that have been sitting on the market, a lot of those have been sitting on for an extended period of time.
Please welcome expert Scott Ryan and his guest, the owner of JBL Wealth Strategies, John Lattarulo.
All right, Scripps Ranch is in the house. Hashtag Scripps Ranch.
That's right.
Great to have you guys here, Scotty. Great to have you back.
Thank you.
John, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Big topics today, macroeconomic stuff, investments, real estate. Scotty, tell me why you wanted to bring John on.
Well, John and I, our kids go to school together. We're friends in Scripps Ranch. And, you know, I think being a real estate agent, you get the question all the time, you know, what's going on with the financial markets as well, and how is that going to affect real estate? So I thought it'd be great to bring on an expert who knows a lot about that stuff to talk about how we can diversify. You know, it's great having real estate investments, but you got to have other vehicles that are going to, you know, earn you money over the long term. So bringing John on, I thought, you know, a local Scripps Ranch guy, somebody who we can all identify with, it would be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. John, I mean, a lot going on right now. You know, we know who our next president is going to be now. People have probably been waiting a lot for that. Have you noticed, I mean, the markets have been sideways for a while, and that typically kind of lulls people to sleep with it. You know, if the 401k statement doesn't change drastically one way or the other, people are kind of just meh, you know, about it. Mm-hmm. What kind of guidance and what kind of ideas are you looking at to give people who are trying to figure out what should they do to diversify between real estate, stocks, bonds, et cetera?
Right. Well, it's good that, again, that the diversification is definitely the key for most people. You know, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. So if you can buy real property, invest in mutual funds and stocks, then you're really talking about keeping your funds able to make money in different areas. Mm-hmm. And that's key, because if things are down at one point, you're able to rebalance into another place which that has been very high, sell out of that, and try to buy in something low. So that's very key for somebody. And with interest rates where they are right now, short-term interest rates, you know, we don't know if the Federal Reserve is going to, raise the rates. They're going to eventually do it at some point. They have to.
We hope so.
Yeah, you know, you can't keep a
really
low interest environment for very long, because eventually you're artificially making these stocks and other products out there higher when they really are. So you want to be key on that if rates do go up, you want to make sure that you're diversified enough to cover that.
Yeah, especially with, we've seen since 2009, and the Dow got down in the mid 6,000s. Yeah. And since then, it's just been kind of a straight march higher. Exactly. I think it's a great time for people to take a look at this stuff.
Right.
Go, hey, what do I actually own?
You know? Exactly.
What is this? What is contained in my portfolio? And what I mean by that is not, I own XYZ mutual fund. What does XYZ mutual fund own?
Yeah.
Okay. What are they buying?
Right. Exactly.
Because that's what you own. How many people don't know that is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
People can name their funds. If they can, first of all, that's first kudos. Now tell me what you actually own. And a lot of people can't answer that. So I think it's a great time to take a look at that and say, hey, does this actually align with what my strategy is?
Exactly. Because everybody's going to have a different risk tolerance and where they are in life, whether you're trying to build your wealth or trying to protect it. It's important that you know that your risk tolerance can take on, if there is losses out there, that you have a certain amount of time to make up for that as well.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
I mean, especially with price earnings ratios being higher now than historical, and we see interest rates are low, which typically causes stock prices to be higher than they should be. I think that protection side is probably the most important side for a lot of people, especially if you've made a lot of money.
Exactly.
You don't want to give it back.
Take some of that off the table and invest in something else that's low. Yeah.
That might be a really good idea for people.
Yes, exactly.
Especially if you can consider all the things, tax implications, things like that, talk to your CPA and whatnot. But in certain cases where you can still pay the long-term gains tax and take profits in this situation, because we've had such a long run, that may be a really good idea for some people.
Definitely.
Maybe diversify into real estate, maybe diversify into other investments, but to take a look at, hey, what do I own? How much money do I have to play with? And how can I be smart about it?
Right. Protecting
myself. Because one thing we do know, Scotty, is that people got to live somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's very little places for people to buy right now.
There is. And Scripps Ranch is one of those communities where you're getting a lot of turnover. You're getting a lot of younger families that are moving into Scripps Ranch. And I think when you're in your early 30s or mid 30s and you're buying that first home, you probably haven't started saving too much. You probably got some 401k set from your work or whatever, but you're making that first big purchase, which is your place to live, right? We all need a place to live. We need that write-off. The second thing is to go look at how can I save and protect myself for long term with raising a family, having kids. Do I have a life insurance policy in place? Do I have long-term investments, with a guy like John that can help them out? And diversifying and keeping a balanced portfolio. I think it's super important.
Yeah, totally agree, because when you do buy that house, of course you are living in it.
Yeah.
But whether you like it or not, it's an investment.
Sure.
I mean, whether you like it or not, at some point you're going to sell that house and you're either going to make money or you aren't.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the bottom line. So in a situation like that where you're spending money on something that eventually you're going to sell, you're buying something you're eventually going to sell for either a profit or a loss, no matter which way you want to look at it, that's investment.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of people don't necessarily look at it that way. A lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. And I think you have to, right? Is that part of what you're looking at, John, when you're meeting with people, is saying, okay, what are you doing with your real estate? And when do you plan on exiting that, and how does that fit into the overall picture?
Yeah, when you're doing comprehensive planning for folks, you're tying all assets that they have.
Okay.
So especially when you're going towards retirement age, are you going to be able to sell your house and downsize, or where do you want to move to? Hopefully they do stay in San Diego, or maybe they move to another state. So it ties into, obviously as you go along, budgeting is important too for these folks to get to retirement, because owning a home, it does tend to cost some money to own a home as well. So as you get to retirement, you want to make sure that when you do sell it, you do get your profit out, and then if you're going to take it to, sell it, put it into another investment account with that money, or downsize into another vehicle that will be more towards your goals.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've been saying forever, since back in my talk radio days, is that if you own a house free and clear in retirement, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You can figure out the rest of it, right?
Right.
So it's why it's such a big part, why these things work so well together, because you want to own a home, and not just own a home as in you're on the title. You want to own a home as in you don't have a payment anymore.
Exactly.
That's what I mean when I say own a home. Now I don't have a house payment anymore. Now I'm going to be okay. If I put some money aside, I've been smart with my investments, I'm going to be okay, because that housing payment is always going to be the biggest bill we have to pay every month.
Sure.
And if that thing goes away eventually, which it can, then you're set.
Right, and your cash flow is open to more things that you can do during retirement.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome that you guys are doing that, and that you've put that piece together, and it's more comprehensive than just what's in your brokerage account.
Exactly.
It's got to be more than that, right? Because there's just more to it than that.
Well, because planning there's a lot of things to planning. I mean, there's not just investments. I mean, like Scott mentioned, there's insurance that you need to have to cover your life or to cover disability. You have to have an estate plan in place to cover if something happens to you. You have to have education planning in place if you have kids that you want to pay for college. So all that ties together and make sure that your plan is on par for what you're looking to do and what your goals are.
Yeah, I was surprised the first time I got a real life insurance assessment. I realized how underinsured I was, and I thought I had, I was like, I have $500,000 in insurance. That's like $1 billion.
Yeah.
And then you looked at, okay, well, I only have one child.
Yeah.
How much money is it going to take to raise her if you were to get hit by a bus today, from now until she's 18, and then pay for college?
Right.
Yeah.
And that number was astounding.
Right.
So about another $1 million, right?
Exactly. And on top of that, you want to take care of your wife, who has to pay off the mortgage potentially.
There's other people involved.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people that need to be taken care of. So you're right,
Sure.
It is an all-encompassing thing, and I think it's awesome that you're looking at all those aspects, and the people of Scripps Ranch are lucky to have you there. Scotty, if I can bend your ear, if I can
Sure.
borrow you for a second, just to sort of get maybe a wrap-up for how things look in Scripps Ranch real estate-wise. Maybe you have a hot listing coming up or something like that?
Yeah, we can talk about both. So basically, I ran the numbers this morning, and I really wanted to see, where we were at from two perspectives. One was number of sales from, last year to this year, and then also where our average price is headed. And it's pretty interesting. We had last year 498 sales in Scripps. Right now we got 459 closed, but we have 59 pending. In fact, so we're on track to do probably 20 to 25 more sales this year than the previous year. The median price right now has gone up from about $686 to $697. That's encompassing condos and single-family homes. So it's up about 1.5%, which is a good sign. We want to see slow growth from here on out, given how high the market's gone in the last few years. So slow growth is a good indicator of a healthy market. Unfortunately, we're still having a big, shortage of homes for sale. You and I have been talking about this for the latter part of a year. When there's more houses pending than there are for sale, I checked it this morning, it's 47 homes for sale.
Wow.
That's nothing. You know, it's
And how many thousands of homes are there?
Oh,
in
there's
Scripps
like
Ranch?
12, 14,000 homes in Scripps Ranch. With the new ones out in Stone
That's
I mean,
insane.
so right now, if you're a seller, you know, I think we're going to definitely see a good rush in 2017. You know, if I had to forecast what's going to happen next year, we are going to see a higher influx of inventory. As long as rates stay somewhat low, I know they're probably going to be raised most likely in December, if I had to guess. And when you agree with that?
Yes.
Even if it's just a tick, you know, historically rates are still going to be somewhat low compared to many years ago. So in 2017, I forecast another hopefully good, healthy market with slow growth. But if you're a seller, you know, I've given this advice before, make sure your house is turnkey and price it right. Because those same 47 homes that have been sitting on the market, a lot of those have been sitting on for an extended period of time. And there's lots of reasons for that. So I just represented a buyer, in fact, where the list price of the house was $829, and it's been on the market for the latter part of 5 months. They got it for $752. So think of that. That's an $80,000 swing in price point from where they started, you know. And if they had priced it probably just under 8 to start with, it probably would have sold closer to that number. So just things to think about it as a seller, you know, coming up in this next year market. So
That's leaving a lot of money on the table, John.
Yes, it
A lot
is.
you can do a lot with that money. I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're one of those sellers whose home is on the market and has been there for a long time, I know Scotty can't say this, but I'll say, call Scott.
Yeah.
Your home will not sit around like that. You'll get top dollar for it. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Go Scripps Ranch. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.